Hi everyone, so in today's tutorial I'm going to teach you guys how I made this tie-up vest top. This one is two-toned, but for this tutorial we're going to be using some different color yarn and I will show you in just a moment. So this was originally just a fiddling project because I was bored, but yeah, so it's a really cute top. Just you tie it on the sides from the bows here. And yeah, it was a fiddling project. I actually loved how it came out, so today I am going to show you guys how I made it. Okay, so for this tutorial we are going to be using these two skeins of yarn in the color Impressions. I like this yarn because of the color wave, and this is actually from one of my old stashes from one of my old stores that I used to go to a while ago. So we're going to be using two of these, and of course you're going to need, let me see which one, what size color or size hook size. So we're going to be using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. I usually do the size hook, the one that says on the wrapping of the yarn, because it makes it easier for me to do my projects. And we are going to use a darning needle and scissors to snip the ends off when you're done. And so the way we're going to start the tutorial is we're going to start with the first, we're basically going to be doing just like the granny stitch for this project. So you're going to take your yarn and you're going to make a magic circle. So you're going to hold your yarn like this, wrap around these two fingers, forming an X, and then you're going to just take your hook under this strand and over this one and pull up, and then just twist the long end like this to form a chain one. And that's how you create your magic circle to start off the project. So we're going to chain two more, and this will act as our first double crochet for the first cluster. So we're going to be doing double crochets for this entire project and chains. So yarn over, go into the magic circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Do that one more time, yarn over, into the magic circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. And you have your first cluster of double crochet. So now we're going to chain two, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 3 double crochets into the magic ring. So it's 1, 2, and 3. And see how that's forming the corner here and the cluster. So we're going to do another chain 2 for the chain space, and we're going to do another 2 clusters so we form our square to start off the project. So do a chain 2 and do 3 double crochets into the magic circle. Do another chain 2, and then you can do your last cluster of double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. So now you have your 4 clusters. So you can just take that little short strand that's forming your magic circle, pull it tight like that, and do a chain 2. And then so you're going to go into this, not into the chain space here, but into this double crochet stitch right here. And you're going to pull up a loop and do a slip stitch. And that's how I usually close my rounds for the granny stitch for this project. So go ahead and chain 3, And this is going to act as your double crochet for every time you start a new round. So we're going to go right into this chain space right here where we left off. Go in, double crochet, do one more into this chain space right here where we left off. And there you have your first cluster for your next round to start off. So basically what we're going to be doing is like every time you end a round, you're going to be slip stitching into that double crochet right here, and then just doing a chain 3 and doing what I just showed you here in that chain space every time you start a new round. And you're just going to basically just do chain 2 for the corners and then clusters all the way around for every round. And that is how you're going to end up making this project. So go into the next chain space here, do 3 double crochets, and then you're going to do a chain 2 and then 3 more double crochets in this same chain space where I'm working in right now. Chain 2. See what I mean? And again, sorry about the lighting. One of my light bulbs is out at the moment. And there you go. So you're gonna just do what you did here, at least. You're gonna do it in this chain space and then next chain space, and then the last chain space, you're just basically just gonna do 1 cluster of the double crochets and then chaining 2 and then slip stitching into this first double crochet to close the round. Okay, so I have finished my second round of our square, or of our front panel. So like I said, you're gonna be just basically just each round you're gonna close and you're gonna do a slip stitch in that chain, in that double crochet each time. So every round you do, you're gonna be doing the first cluster, and then you're gonna be doing these 2 clusters and doing a chain 2 space. And then you're going to continue that until you reach the beginning, and you'll just do that 1 simple cluster of 3, chaining 2, and then slip stitching into that first double crochet, and then chain 3 to start your next round. And so for a total, you're going to be doing a total of, for me, I did about around 15 rounds or rows for each panel, but you can add a row or 2 if you want. It depends on how it's going to fit on you, or how it's going to look when you put it against your chest to see how big you want it. I personally just did 15 rows because I'm very petite, so it fit me that way. But you can do as many rows as you like. The sizes are customizable. I'm not gonna really put sizes because I don't really do sizes. I do simple projects. But yeah, you're just gonna continue doing what I showed you until you reach the right amount of rows that you would like to have for the project to see how it fits on you. And then you can do your back panel the same way. And then I will show you guys how I do the strapping. So yeah, so you can go ahead and do your rows and I'll meet you back up. Okay, so I have finished my 15 rows for the front panel. So once you're done with your last row, you're just going to do a slip stitch into that first double crochet, and then you'll chain 3, but you will not be fastening off at this point because we will be doing a couple of rows up here for part of the strap. So go ahead and do a chain 3, and then you're going to do 2 more double crochets in this chain space, like how we have always been doing to start our rounds. And then we're gonna go into the next space right here and do 3 more double crochets. into the next space. So I actually did at least 4 clusters of this for the straps, and I did about like maybe at least 3 rows of it. So that way when you wear this, it will have enough space for the head opening and be very comfortable on your shoulders. Okay, so now we have our 4 clusters. So now we are going to turn our work. And so basically what we're going to do is we're going to do a chain 3. And we're just going to do a cluster of 3 double crochets into that next space. And then do another cluster into the next space. That's turning out good. And then another cluster into that next space. And then we will just do, I think, let me see. Yeah, we can just do another cluster in this space as well to make it even. You can do 1 double crochet in this last space. It depends on like how it's gonna look to you, but I usually do the 3 clusters because it will look better that way. But yeah, so now you have your 3 rows. I believe I did 3 rows. Hold on 1 second. Okay, and for this last little space right here, we're just gonna do 1 double crochet and then we're gonna do a chain 3. And then we're gonna turn our work. So we have 2 rows for the strap right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a double crochet. We're gonna do 2 more double crochets into this stitch right here. So you're gonna go in, 1, and 2. You see how it lines it evenly when you do that. You go into that directly into that stitch. And so we're just gonna do a cluster in each of the spaces here. And then we will fasten off for this side. And then I will show you how we're going to attach the yarn to the other side so we can do that part of the strap. And also, if you're getting confused a little bit, feel free to pause or rewind the video. If you're having a little bit of a hard time, hopefully you shouldn't, because this is the easiest stitch that you can possibly do for any type of project. And there we go. So now we have 1, 2, 3 rows for a part of the strap for the first panel for this side. And now we are going to chain 1 and fasten off, leaving a tail for sewing. And then just pull it right through. And then you got your strap there. And so where we're going to attach our yarn for our other side for these straps, we're going to do a slip knot. And so we're going to count, so we're going to go right into this space right here, because we're going to be doing 4 clusters. It's going to go right into this space. Well, actually, instead of doing it on facing up, we're going to flip this and do it facing down. So we can actually start in just this chain space right here. So we're gonna slip stitch into this chain space, and we're gonna chain 3, and we're just gonna do 2 more double crochets into that chain space. And just basically do exactly what we did for that first side. And do 3 more clusters. Do a chain 3, turn your work, and just finish off the rounds or the rows for the strap for this front panel. And I will meet you back up to show you how it looks, and then we will continue on. Okay, so I'm done with the other side of these for the strap. So basically you're going to be doing the same thing you did here. It's just going to be facing right side up when you finish it on here. So you're just going to be like attaching your yarn to this chain space right here, doing 2 more double crochets, doing a cluster here, a cluster here, and a cluster here, chaining 3, doing a cluster in this one, a cluster and a cluster, and you'll be doing only 1 double crochet in that last chain in that last space when you hit the second row or second row of the strap for this side. So yeah, when you do, so this is your first row, and for your second row, when you end it, you're just gonna be doing that 1 double crochet, because in the third row of the strap, you're gonna be doing a chain 3, doing 2 double crochets in that double crochet stitch that you did turn your work on for that second row to build up the strap for the front panel. And you just do cluster, cluster, and then cluster, and then you'll chain 1 and fasten off. So you're basically just mirroring what you did for this part here on this side, except it's going to be more like facing upward or actually downward. That's what I can see. This is the back of it, because there's the end here. But yeah, you'll just be mirroring the strap part for when you do that. And then for the second panel, you'll just be doing the same thing. You'll be making this big square and then doing the straps like how I showed you here, mirroring them, and you'll have both your panels together. And then I will show you how we are going to do the strap, the tie strap, to create our little bows and to put these panels together. So go ahead and just replicate this panel for your back panel, and I will meet you back up for when we put everything together. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that each panel is facing inside out, so that way make sure that the loose ends that are out, make sure that they're showing for the back and the front. Don't think that one is showing. Nope. So let me fix this up. So yeah, so make sure that the back panel is showing with the strand, or the front panel I mean, and that the back is showing as well. And so what we're gonna do is we're going to sew these 2 parts here together. I'm going to show you how to do that. And don't worry about your ends for right now. We're going to weave those in later, right after we're done with everything. So I'm going to show you guys how I weave in my ends, or how I sew the straps together. Sorry, how I sew the straps together. So we're going to take this and we're going to go basically into this stitch right here and into the next, like that. And we're just going to whip stitch. Go to this one again, just to make it more secure. And we're just gonna whip stitch each stitch together for the strap for where it lands on your shoulder. And just keep on whip stitching And you'll do this for this, and you'll do the same thing you're doing here for the other one. And also don't pull too tight or don't pull too loose. That way you can close the gap. And that way when you put this on, if it's just right, and then we're gonna go right into this again. And then we're just going to weave in under those whips like this. And that's basically how you're going to sew the straps together for where it lands on your shoulder, just to make it more secure. And then just give it a little tug, and then you will snip off the end, or you can snip off the end when you want to. So I will just leave that like that, and we'll go to the next one. You're just gonna do the same thing that I showed you here on this one. And then I will show you how I make the bow parts for the sides of how we're, so wait to show you how it's gonna be tied up. Okay, so I'm all done sewing up the shoulder straps. And so now we're just gonna turn this right side in. And I will show you how I make the tie-up straps for the sides. So just flip this over, now it is right side in. And so we are going to actually start down this way, and we're gonna start down this way, and in the middle here we're gonna put the tie-up strap for each side. So each side here we're gonna have little tie-up straps, so you can tie little bows on the sides for when you put this on. So go ahead and grab your yarn, and we're gonna make a slip knot. We're gonna grab our hook, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically start near where we did the seam for the shoulder straps, and we're just gonna go into this space right here, and we're going to do a single crochet and another single crochet in that chain space. So we're doing 2 single crochets there, and then we're just gonna keep on doing single crochets going into some of the gaps here all along this side. And then you're gonna, and I would suggest trying this on to see where you want the tie-up strap to land, so that way you can do your chain, because I'm going to be I originally did about like 61 chains, so it's about 60 chains in total for the side straps to tie bows on the sides for this tie-up vest. So we're just gonna do single crochets going down first into those little gaps there, or in between the double crochet stitches. And then I will show you where I end up landing for the strap. Okay, so I have done single crochets from the shoulder down here, and I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clusters up, and I have stopped here. And so now we are going to chain 61, and then you will just slip stitch into the second chain from the hook and all the way down, and do another single crochet in this stitch to close that strand. And then you'll just do single crochets all the way around the border and back up to the other side, and do the same thing for the other side. Okay, so I have made my chain, and as you can see, I went into the second chain from the hook and just did slip stitch. So you're going to slip stitch all the way down this chain and back to that single crochet, and do another single crochet next to it in the same stitch, and then single crochet all the way around back to the side, and make sure you have at least 7 clusters up, and then do the same thing that you did for this side with the chain for the strap, and then you're gonna just keep on going up this way and around to the other side on this for the other side of the panel, and just do exactly what you did for this panel. Okay, so I am back and I have finished doing the single crochets all the way around, and I've done these straps for to tie the bows at the very sides, and I've single crocheted all the way around. I did 4 single crochets in the chain spaces in the bottom, and then did the same thing here. And lastly, for the neck lining, you will do like a single crochet border for that. I'm not going to directly show you on here, but you will be doing like the just regular single crochet border for here, and then you can just weave in your ends after everything is done. Now I'll show you what it looks like on me right after that. And here is the finished tie-up vest top. As you can see, I did bows for the sides with the strands for how we did with the slip stitches. Oh my god, it turned out so good, and I weaved in all of my ends, and it is nice and ready to wear. And I do suggest steam blocking this because the ends tend to roll up. Yeah. Now, if you liked this video and you enjoyed watching how I made this, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. It does help me make more videos like this. If you want me to make any other videos of like clothing wear, I'd be happy to. And just enjoy the tutorial, and I will see you for my next video.